Well, the last time around, I got the top irons that bolt to the driver's seat installed, and I think I have them adjusted to where they need to be. So I spun this whole coach around on this dolly, and I need to adjust the rear ones. So I got them bolted to the rear frame, and this angle here should kind of follow the same line as this rear curve. This left one kind of leans back a little bit. The right one actually kind of follows that line pretty well. So I need to bring this one forward, and I think I'm going to do it right here in this bend. And then these irons here that go across each other, this is the framework that came off of that. Well, you can see they're kind of out of a line as well. So when I heat these corners up, I need to just kind of rotate these a little bit so that they're straight across from one another. Then I'll cross measure and make sure I get these square. Right now I am at 51 both directions, so I'm square, but I need to be 42 inches from these inside holes, and I'm 41.5. So each one needs to go out just 1/4 of an inch. So as I bolt this top frame together, kind of sort of, I'm going to use this gauge here and just pull this out half the distance on both sides, and use my bolt spacing as my measurement. About right there, I think. I think that'll work. So I'd like to check front to back. See if we're in the ballpark. 93. Right on. I like that. Well, I took all these top irons back off of this 11 so we can look a little closer to see how they were made, and I need to use these as patterns to make copies for that 8-passenger. Well, on this rear top iron, this is the section that bolts to the framework itself, and it seems to be 3/8 by 1.5 inches, and then it's drawn out over the length of it down to about maybe 3/16, and it's flared out as well. Now this is an interesting forge joint here. This one isn't quite so clear, but this one does stand out a little more clearly just how this was done. You can see that this round 3/4 inch has been split. You can see the joint of the weld, and then this 3/8 by 1.5 inch has been inserted in, and then forge welded so it is flush on the back side, and then raised on the outside. You can see the remnant of that joint of that forge weld right here. So that very possibly is what I will do again. You can see this is the top of the joint right here. So that's kind of an interesting forge weld there. Now on the bases of the front irons, you can see this is 1 inch wide and possibly up to 1/2 inch. It's actually kind of between 1/2 and 3/8. This side is closer to 3/8. This is closer to 1/2 inch. But you can see where this 3/4 rod was brought down and then flared out to allow more of a contact on that forge weld, and you can see that forge weld edge right here, and then on the back side where it was forged down into this iron here. I'll look at that other one as well. The back side is a little more clear. You can see that forge weld here, and also how it has been flared out to give it more of a welding surface when it was welded onto this corner base. These I'm probably just going to take my wire feed and weld them on. Now the top end of these, where they actually fasten to the wood frame, is a real interesting joint. And I'm not sure that I'm going to do it the same. I want to end up with the same result, but I think I'm going to take a different approach. So as look at this one here, you can see the remnant of a forge weld right here. And a little bit of it there. We've got to look at a number of these to actually see that process. This one is a little rougher, which actually allows us to see that a little more clearly. You can see this joint here, how it's kind of a rough corner there. And we can also see it right here. See the edge of that joint there, and you can see the corner of that forge weld here as well. So this is a 3/8 by 7/8 welded to this 3/4 round rod and forged so that it will be nice and square in the corner. I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, but you can see the remnants of a forge weld there, as well as there and here. So I have my speculations on how I think they did this. And this is pretty much just my speculation. But because of these joints that are off to the side of this 3/4 rod, I think what they did was they split the top of this rod 4 ways. And they laid 2 of those legs out to weld into the base of this 7/8 by 3/8 as they laid that corner in. Whether this corner was put in 1 piece or 2 pieces, I'm not sure. I think it was probably 1 piece, but I don't know for sure. So it looks like the top of this rod had 4 legs, and then 2 of these were laid out to weld into the corners that came this direction, and these 2 would have been welded together on the inside corner in the process of that forge welding. So we end up, I can't bend my finger backwards here, so we end up with a corner coming in like so, and then welded this direction both ways, and then welded on the inside in the center of that corner, and then formed into a form that gives us this angle that is not a right angle. There's a little bit of variation on these inside corners between these. One of these has a real sharp peak on the inside, and you can kind of see the remnant of that forge weld right here, which makes me think that these two legs were forged back together again on the inside, as these two outside ones were forged here. But we can see part of a forge weld here on some of these. Now some of these are a little more round on the inside, but you can see an indentation there, which I would say this is the two legs of the four that were forged back together again on the inside of that. And then you can see this joint here as these two outside legs were laid over and welded into that. That's just kind of what it looks like to me. These other top irons here, not quite so pointed, but again, I think I can see the remnant of where it was split, welded back together, and the sides laid down and welded like we have here. And this last one is a little less pronounced, but again, it just has that appearance to me, but I'm guessing maybe that's how they did it. Me, I'm thinking I can just take these after I shape them and taper them and just weld them in, and then I may have to build a form to get this effect in the corner. And another thing I noticed on these upper corners, that I think these were done in short sections, because you can see on all of these there is a joint here to where I think they were forged right in here. So I think this top piece was done in a manageable piece, just this long. You can see the other joint right here. And then when this was created, it was forge welded onto the main body of the 3/4 rod itself. So I think where I'm going to start is I'm going to take this 3/8 by 1.5 inches and get it drawn out both directions lengthwise and get my width that I need. This goes from 1.5 inches to about 1 7/8 inches. Get my 3/4 inch rods made. I want to do these corner braces that fasten the front irons to the driver's seat. Get those bent and fitted into those corners like I did on these here. Then also prepare my irons. I'm going to have to take 3/8 by 1 and take it down to 7/8 and put these tapers on it. And then figure out how we put this all together. Well, this is where we want to end up, and I'd say this is in kit form. Some assembly required. We'll see if we can make this into that. So these are going to be for the rear frame going up to the top on that back main frame. And these will become these corners. Might be a little long there, but I can adjust those. And these will be for the driver's seat corners up front. That'll be for the front top mounts. So I'll do a little cleaning up on these. I've got to get these bent at that 90 degrees and decide what I'm going to do for these corners. I think I'm going to bend them and weld them in place as one piece. So this is the foundation to get these top irons started for that 8-passenger. I kind of enjoy playing with all 3 different power hammers on the same project. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.